Hello everyone, I am going to show you how to finish off a wedding bouquet's base. So let's get started. I'm Lori and I'm here to show you exactly what to do step by step. Now there are different elements you can use, different types of ribbons. You can use ruffly ribbons, sheer ribbons, double-sided faced silky satin ribbons, all sorts of types. I'm going to be using 3 types of ribbon here, a number 3 and 2 number, well, they're kind of a little bit, they're like a number 9. And if you're in, maybe a little bigger than a number 9, they're about 2 of them are about 2 inches wide, and one of them is about, a third of an inch wide. So what I'm doing first is, I want to cover up my mechanics. So your mechanics, of course, are the tape, the wire, things like that. I had wrapped this silk bouquet in corsage wrap, basically. It's flower tape. There's different types of flower tape. If you're doing this as a beginner, you have to make sure you get the right type of tape. It's actually not sticky. It has no glue per se on it. And when you pull it really tight, that's when it adheres to itself. So what am I doing here? I'm taking this off-white ribbon and I am using it to cover my green tape. I'm working from the base up. So I'm wrapping it around, keeping it very smooth, and then going in a roundabout way. So I'm making sure that the entire base is smooth and clean. And when I get my ribbon up to the top, I'm looping it back inside my last wraparound and pulling it nice and tight. Now this is just step 1. I'm going to have other steps, which you're going to see in a second here. I'm going to be adding on my blue ruffle. And this is not necessarily, it does not have to be a blue ruffle by any means. Believe it or not, if you just wanted to leave your wrap the way I just showed you and call it a day, you could. But that is not what we're going to do here. Now, I'm going to show you here where you could just sort of spiral it up the stem and call it a day and cut it, but that's not the best way to do this. So I just wanted to just show you that if you were stuck or you didn't want to go through doing a fancier bit, you could just wrap it like I'm showing you here. Again, that's not how I'm going to finish it, but I just wanted to explain you could do that if you wanted to. What I'm going to do is I'm first going to lay it in a horizontal, you're going to lay it down as you see here, leaving some of the ribbon up at the top. That's going to end up being like a tie-off point. So you're laying down the ribbon straight down the stem, and you're going to loop it underneath the base of your bouquet. And again, I'm trying to avoid using any kind of glue because it gets messy looking and you don't want it to be messy. So once I've done that and I've laid it down, now I'm going to start to wrap and bring this up. So what has happened here, instead of just going around without doing that long bit at the top, see as it's going down the stem, you can't get as clean of a look. And I hope I'm explaining. I'm glad you have the visuals to go along with it. Now, once I've gotten it all the way at the top, I'm going to tie it off. So I used that piece that I had long just to give it, use it as a knot with the stem that I brought up, or the ribbon per se. Now I'm taking this number 3 ribbon, and this is what I'm going to use to create my bodice, kind of like on the back of like a corset. Think of it like a corset, like a wedding dress that has one of those like crisscross corset looks. This is the gilding of the lily, so to speak. You're going to make sure you have lots of ribbon to work with. And you're going to put it behind the bouquet base stem. You're going to bring it to the front, and then you're going to crisscross it as you see I'm doing here. I am just taking the ribbon, making sure that it's equal on each side. And then you're going to take it and crisscross it and give it a little twist and then bring it to the back. And let me show you, I'm going to do it again. So this is all in real time. I haven't sped up the video. I'm going really slow so you can see all of my visuals. Please, if you're liking this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me by growing. I have over 1,000 subscribers right now, so I'd like to keep it going and bring you more content and show you some more of my expertise. Again, I've been doing this for a really long time. My first job was at a flower shop when I was 14 years old, and I fell in love with it. And when I first started there, I wasn't allowed to touch flowers for designing. When I first got there, there was this, I would go in the basement. It was cold down there, but all the designers for some reason were down there doing funeral work. And there was this old guy, his name was Joe Morello. And I mean, he was old. And sorry if you're really old and you're watching this, I don't know. I think he was like, I think he was like in his 80s, which, I mean, my mom's 91 and, she says that, age is just a number, and I believe that. And anyway, he was down there, and I remember he smoked like a chimney, and he'd have his cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he'd be designing flowers, and I was fascinated, and I thought it was incredible. And I wanted to learn how to do that too. So I watched everything he did in detail. I would analyze everything that this man was doing. And that was back in like 1987, I believe it was. And so it was a long time ago, right? It was just, that was how I got started. So anyway, so getting back to this, as you've seen, as I've been talking about my beginnings as a flower artist or flower designer, if you will, I've been just crisscrossing. So I'm just taking the ribbon and I'm going from the back to the front, and then I'm just crisscrossing it over and coming back and forth. Now, if you run out, now this happens. Hopefully you've gotten enough. You just have to just tie it to the back and then continue as if you were starting from square one. No one will know because you're going to start it from the back and you're going to crisscross it over, and it's going to be seamless. It's not even going to be something you have to worry about. So again, look, I'm taking my ribbon. I've got them in opposite directions and I'm just giving them a little twist. That's all you're doing. It is I don't know, a 5-year-old could do it if you showed them a couple times. You're just crisscrossing it, and then you're bringing it to the back. The key is, as you see my fingers here moving, what I'm doing is I am making sure that the crisscross is all pretty much even. You don't want to have it not in a straight line. And you'll see why when I get to the finishing touches. You can take these finishing touches to a lot of different levels. So, what I like about this is I always tell people that flowers are like jewelry for your photographs. And you want to be able to have your flowers for your wedding or special event like an anniversary to sparkle. And when you're taking pictures, they kind of like finish it off. And when sometimes a photographer will take like a wedding bouquet and they'll put like the shoes, they'll even put the rings next to it. And maybe they'll have the bride and the groom's hands near it. You want the flowers to have a really lovely finished touch because these photographs are going to be there for, forever, right? That's like they're immortalized, and the flowers really do tie everything in. So with that being said, I'm just going to finish off the top of my corset, so to speak, or my braid. I like to call it a braid because I think it kind of looks like you've braided the stems. And I'm just tying them in a knot. So they were there. This is not going anywhere. This is going to stay there. And when you see the next part, it's definitely not going to be going anywhere. So When you're choosing the ribbon that you're going to use, I really highly recommend that you coordinate your ribbon with your gown. And if you're like, if you're stuck and you said the colors are not quite identical to the gown color, use different tones. So for example, say you have a bridesmaid who's wearing blue and you cannot get ribbon that matches exactly. Don't fret it. Don't worry. Get 3 shades and make an ombre effect. And it will coordinate. Get one that's a little lighter, a little bit darker, one that's pretty close to it, and it'll look lovely. Like this is 2 different types of blues, right? Now, I couldn't dye this. I wish that ribbon companies, this is just my own little like rant. I wish that ribbon companies and dress companies would work together and make spools of ribbon that you could buy to go with your wedding party so the ribbons identically matched the dye lot of the gowns. How great would that be? I'd love to, talk to somebody who's a ribbon maker or a dressmaker and this is my idea. I've always said that. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm adding some embellishments. What I'm doing, see, you have to be careful because sometimes you put the pins in and they snap. I'm putting in pins to act like the bustle on the back of a dress, and I'm using pearl-tipped pins. Now you could, and of course I'm making sure that I'm going right up the center of the stem. What you want to make sure is that the tip, the needle part, goes inside the stem and not out the other side, and you do not want to have your bride getting stabbed. That is the last thing you want to have happen. Again, you could just do pearls and leave it at that, or you could embellish it a little bit further. I use some crystal flowers next, and you're gonna see that. It just looks so pretty, and the bride's dress was spectacular. And what I wanted to do is make sure that I elevated the bouquet to match the princess. I mean, the gown that it went with was like something you'd see out of a fairy tale. So, what is my next step here? Making sure that my pins are perfectly straight. Everything feels clean and finished. Oh, and by the way, with the clean and finished, I like to make sure my tails have what I call a dragon's tongue, so to speak. These here are my final embellishments. These are the crystals that I'm going to be using. They're little flowers. And what I'm doing is, because they're buttons. What I'm doing is I am threading them on one of the pearl-headed pins. So they will go in like this and pushed in and make sure they're real tight. I do go back afterwards and I use I use like a crazy glue that's made for metal, and I double secured these crystals because even though they were in, the pins were in, I had to ship this, and I did not want to, I did not want anything moving. So I went back in, I don't think I show it on camera, and I put little dabs of glue underneath that you couldn't see, that was clear, and I did not use like glue gun glue. You have the hot glue gun. I used a special glue for metal to embellish, like crazy glue, and made sure that it was really, really nice and tight. I didn't want to have any issues at all. But, and now what I'm doing is I'm just making sure everything is in a nice row, it's clean, it's set, and there's no question that when this bride gets this bouquet, it's going to look absolutely spectacular. And as you can see, I'm just trying to make sure everything is spaced out properly. And I felt that pearl-headed pin was kind of loose, and I just had some issues. So I wanted to make sure that there was no issues by the time we were done. My name goes on anything that I create. And I teach flower design. I teach high school and college level design where students can get credit. And I really pride myself in telling them it has to be perfect. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit that subscribe. Bye.